Plenty of films feature giant monsters that rampage through our cities, destroying everything in sight. Most notably, the Godzilla franchise and all the monsters that were born within it. We wanted to take a look at other films which feature these titanic beasties that you may or may not have seen yet. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 films featuring giant monsters. Number 1. The Host. From acclaimed Korean director Bong Joon-ho, who is most notable for his film Snowpiercer and his Best Picture winner Parasite, gave us his very own monster movie, The Host, in 2006. In this film alone, he demonstrates his versatility as a director. He's also brilliant at genre meddling. The Host opens in a mortuary where a couple of military personnel dump loads of formaldehyde down the drain. The Korean MP even notes that it's a health hazard to do so. Bong Joon-ho's films are often underpinned with themes of institutional corruption and recklessness. So it's no surprise that this hazardly act taints the river greatly, creating a giant fish or lizard type monster. The creature is introduced to us hanging from a bridge above the Han River. It proceeds to go on a bloody rampage along a trailer park-like area by the river that ends with the abduction of one of the family's daughter, which then motivates them to seek her out. This particular monster attack sequence is full of unencumbered animalistic brutality, as the creatures attack, maul, and eat several people. A plot twist is that many of the people who came in contact with the creatures are infected with the SARS virus and forced into quarantine. SARS had done its share of damage in the mid-aughts when this film came out. I'd like to point out that the film, in a dark bit of humor, addresses a foolish doctor in quarantine not wearing a mask. While that was supposed to be satire, the anti-mask idiocy actually rose to prominence during the COVID-19 pandemic. But I digress. The Host is as much about the creature's impact on soul as it is the familial bonds between the main characters. It's tragic, funny, and emotional. Make sure to catch it out on Max, Sling, Prime, Fandango, and Google Play. Number 2. Cloverfield. Years after the Blair Witch Project introduced mainstream audiences to the found footage film genre, and a year before Paranormal Activity paved the way for a brief return to the subgenre, J.J. Abrams produced the 2008 sci-fi horror gem Cloverfield. In the wake of cell phone cameras and easily accessible portable home camcorders, a gritty cinematic approach to the giant monster movie is born. By the 2020s, the visuals in Cloverfield are definitely rough, but the lo-fi aesthetic and limited camera movement ground the movie more so than the characters. The guerrilla-style camera work only adds mystery and tension to an already unnerving atmosphere. The clever and well-executed narrative makes up for the film's shortfalls in character depth. The unease is constant in Cloverfield, and being perpetually eye-level, often at ground-level perspectives, as the giant creature attacks makes the whole experience even palpable. After all, Cloverfield is a horror film first. There's been recent news on possibly a direct sequel currently in production, unlike the 2 spin-off films which were set in parallel realities that sort of tied into the original film. But we've heard all this before, so until a trailer is released, don't get your hopes up. But make sure to check out this epic monster destruction on Pluto, AMC+, Philo, Google Play, and Prime. Number 3. Love and Monsters. 2020's Love and Monsters, led by the charming Dylan O'Brien, is an action-packed adventure rom-com taking place during what is referred to in the film as the monster apocalypse. Tonally, its place is in the vein of Zombieland, as it is both funny and sentimental, but in this case packed with giant creature action instead of zombie action. The backstory for Love and Monsters is that a cataclysmic asteroid was headed for Earth, but we stopped it with a barrage of rockets. Unfortunately, chemicals from said rockets, and possibly the asteroid, rained down on Earth, causing many of Earth's species to mutate into oversized monsters. Think giant roaches, ants, crab, even goldfish with a bevy of extra features, and all cold-blooded. 95% of humanity is wiped out as most of the species mutated are not friendly. In a cosmic coincidence, Love and Monster was set to release theatrically in March of 2020, but was pulled from a wide release due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And like many films at the time, was given an on-demand release and achieved hit status later that year on Netflix. Love and Monster sees Joel, played by O'Brien, journey 85 miles to reunite with the love of his life. One of the elements that separates this film from many on this list is this film isn't gritty or desaturated. It's very vibrant and fantastical feeling. It also features giant monsters we don't typically see, like a giant intelligent slug and a mutated frogfish are both featured. Also, shout out to Boy, Joel's dog companion, just because we love dogs. So check the film out on MGM+, Prime, Google Play, Philo, and Fandango. Number 4, Pacific Rim. It may or may not come as a surprise, but Pacific Rim is probably my favorite film to come from the brilliant mind of writer-director Guillermo del Toro, as he boasts an impressive filmography that includes The Devil's Backbone, Kronos, Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy 1 and 2, and The Shape of Water. Del Toro's films feature a diverse array of monsters, but they are well crafted with intelligent scripts, and he often gives his monsters soul. Although Pacific Rim does boil down to giant robots fighting giant monsters, Del Toro's style and intellect is imbued in the script and visuals. Despite being his biggest commercial endeavor, it was only a modest hit in the US, reaching the 100 million mark statewide, and add another 300 million worldwide, just barely breaking even its $200 million budget. But it did garner critical acclaim and a loyal fan base that grew in the home market. WB eventually made a sequel called Pacific Rim Uprising, but it's not nearly as enjoyable. The film is also veritable who's who of veteran cable stars, including Charlie Hunnam of Sons of Anarchy, Idris Elba of The Wire, and Charlie Day of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. In the universe of Pacific Rim, giant monsters, also known as kaiju, have been able to enter through a rift in the Earth's ocean. In doing so, they have left a trail of destruction and effortlessly bumped humans off the top of the food chain. Humanity has, however, come very far in the field of robotics and developed enormous mechs that require 2 pilots due to their complexity. This also means that humans need to work together because the right bond between 2 people is essential for combat, and thus overall survival. Pacific Rim isn't just a cool flick with big-ass monsters battling robots, but an allegory for the importance of deep intimacy and understanding one another. You can view the brawl over on Disney+, Google Play, Fandango, and Prime. Number 5, Rampage. 2018's hit film Rampage, which features a building-sized ape that is not King Kong, is based on the 1986 arcade game Rampage. In the game, the player can choose between playing a giant lizard, a giant werewolf, or a giant ape. They were all once humans that were experimented on. In the film, the giant ape is a result of experiments gone wrong. Along with him, there is also a giant alligator and wolf rampaging around the city, so the filmmakers concocted a solid adaptation of the video game. Also, in the case of the film, the giant gorilla is trying to stop the other 2 creatures. To have appropriate budget for a film of this scope, it's good to get a heavy-hitting commercial draw. Who better than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who plays primatologist Davis Oiko. He works at the San Diego Zoo and was also Special Forces. just your normal everyday special ops zoo employee. In Rampage, Davis also happens to be buds with the gorilla who was experimented on. They work with each other to stop the massive amounts of property damage that the other giant monsters are inflicting. But that's what the audience came for. Demolition and destruction, which there's plenty of it in the midst of a giant monster brawling. So beat your chest and charge over to Sling, Google Play, Fandango, TNT, TBS, and Prime to stream Rampage. Number 6, Colossal. 2016 Colossal is not your typical giant monster film. The film stars Anne Hathaway as a party girl, Gloria, who needs to get her life together. The film opens in Seoul, South Korea, 25 years prior, in which a little girl and her mother are in a park, and out of nowhere, a Godzilla 2014-sized monster appears out of nowhere. The next scene is with Gloria coming home after a bender, her longtime boyfriend waiting for her in order to break up with her. He's packed her things and she heads out on her journey, where Gloria runs into an old friend from school, Oscar, played by Jason Sudeikis. I will note that Colossal is labeled as a sci-fi comedy, so it has rom-com vibes. Hathaway and Sudeikis have incredible chemistry and give charismatic performances. The film could also land on one of our subversive lists because it isn't what I expected in a handful of ways. First off, the protagonists are in the USA, and for the most part, witnesses to the reappearances of the mysterious kaiju from news reports are out of Seoul. The sci-fi aspect comes in as the main colossal monster is directly linked to Gloria. Colossal makes the best of its intriguing premise. If you're looking for classic Toho-style giant monster mayhem, you might be a little disappointed, as the film is more about interpersonal relationships. However, it is undeniably original and engaging with some surprises you'll have to see for yourself over on Tubi. Number 7, Eight-Legged Freaks. 2002's Eight-Legged Freaks starring David Arquette, best known for playing the beloved Dewey Riley in the Scream franchise, is a throwback to the B monster movies that plagued the 50s. I should point out that the main young boy in the film, Mike Parker, is watching a giant spider film from the 50s. Or at least that's my best guess. Sound off in the comments if you know for sure, because the credits credit The Visitor from Fox. Mike's sister, Ashley, is played by precocious young Scarlett Johansson, who you can see in one of this year's upcoming blockbusters, Jurassic World Rebirth. Speaking of Jurassic Park, this film paved the way in the 90s for all sorts of new special effects possibilities in CG and animatronics. The disaster film resurgence of the 90s also opened up doors for all kinds of exciting visual effects techniques, practical and digital. Funnily enough, Independence Day producer Dean Devlin also produced Eight-Legged Freaks. So by 2002, there were quite a lot of tools for director Elroy Elcom to bring his Eight-Legged Freaks to life. He was given a healthy $30 million budget for the film, which may have been half of Jurassic Park's budget 9 years prior, but wasn't too shabby for a cheesy throwback monster flick. Eight-Legged Freaks is what you'd expect. The film has orchestrated itself around giant arachnids for a guilty pleasure cringe fest. Outside the small fictional mining town of Prosperity, Arizona, toxic chemicals get spilled into a lake after they've fallen off a swerving truck. This affected the wildlife, particularly crickets who consume the toxic chemicals. And then spiders consume them, and bam! Giant spiders. Yeah, don't think too hard. There are plenty of giant spiders and Eight-Legged Freaks participating in all sorts of silly, over-the-top sequences. Said spiders range in size from that of an actual tarantula to a tank-sized 8-legged monstrosity. So get caught in a web over on Google Play, Fandango, and Prime to stream. Number 8. Nope. Visionary director and Academy Award-winning director Jordan Peele came back with some bold ideas in his third directorial outing, Nope. Nope revolves around the owners of a black-run horse ranch attempting to capture a UFO on camera. The premise is simple, but the film comes with quite a few surprises and depth. While Nope is a horror film first, it blends in quite a bit of comedy, sci-fi, and Western elements. Much of the Western elements come from the score and the vista displaying breadth of the camera work. Calling the film Spielbergian is not completely off base, but by this point, Jordan Peele has established enough of a style to garner his own moniker. There is no reining in of Peele's auteurism in Nope, which, even with the best and brightest directors, it comes with its ups and downs. Lucky for us, Peele is a skillful and thoughtful director with quite a bit of experience in all aspects of filmmaking. Peele understands the scope of what he is attempting and generally pulls it off. One of the more intriguing themes of Nope is that it is a critique of the spectacle of the visual medium and shows the various lengths as we as a people will go to capture spectacles itself. Also, we love us some giant monsters smashing stuff up. Later on in Nope, it's revealed that the UFO that the protagonists are trying to get on film is actually an alien itself, just looking for food. So the strategy becomes to stop the unearthly creature itself. Even though it soars over beautifully shot mountain farm terrains, the alien does a fair bit of destruction, including devouring all the citizens and causing massive damage at an amusement park nearby. One of my favorite things about Jordan Peele films thus far is that they have characters that say out loud what the audience is saying to the screen. Viewing becomes a meta experience in itself. It also demonstrates the finesse Jordan Peele has as he is able to quite accurately anticipate the audience's reaction. That being said, I anticipate you will view this film over on Google Play, Fandango, and Prime. Number 9, The Mist. We couldn't make this list without including something from the master of horror himself, Stephen King. King's universe is riddled with monsters, and The Mist contains a plethora of horrific giant ones. This 2007 adaptation might be the best Stephen King one to date, thanks to the adept writing and direction from Frank Darabont. The strange mist envelops the town, and there are lethal, terrifying creatures hiding within. The story takes place primarily in a grocery store, where many people have hunkered down to stay safe. But of course, paranoia and fear take over and people clash. The Mist is still topical today, especially in our current tumultuous political climate. The ensemble, led by Thomas Jane, played their parts brilliantly and emotionally, with Marcia Gay Harden, who, playing the deplorable religious zealot, is a constant scene stealer. Jane, who plays David, eventually escapes the store along with a group of survivors because the store becomes overrun by monsters. And not just ones from outside, but the true monsters that have been with them from the beginning. While most of the time the various monstrosities are shrouded in the mist, it makes all the more exciting when we get a glimpse of the Lovecraftian-inspired nightmares. There are 2 versions of the film available, one in its original theatrical color presentation, and also a director's cut in black and white. So stream it over on Prime, Freevee, Fellow, Google Play, or YouTube. Number 10, Super 8. J.J. Abrams gifted us with a love letter to Steven Spielberg in his 2011 sci-fi Super 8, which also happened to be produced by Spielberg himself, and could easily pass for a Spielberg flick. Many common Spielbergian themes and visual aesthetics run throughout the film. This is very much with intent, as it takes place in the 80s, Spielberg's heyday, and is an homage to the legendary director's famous works. I've always referred to Super 8 as spiritual sequel to Stand By Me, as it focuses on a ragtag team of misfit tweens going through an emotional coming-of-age journey. Only in Super 8, they discover an alien opposed to a dead body. Each kid fits an archetype or has a special talent, similar to the kids in It as well. And like each of those films, the child actors have a lot of chemistry. Super 8 may even pull at all the heartstrings of anyone who wants or wanted to be a filmmaker, as the children are trying to make their own monster movie on Super 8 film. It takes me back to my college days when they had us film on 16mm Bolex cameras, and we edited reels by hand. While the kids are filming a key scene by the train tracks, they witness a train wreck and an unidentified monster escapes. Throughout most of the film, we are witnesses to the aftermath of a mysterious creature's destruction, while the friends attempt to finish their own film on their Super 8 camcorder. Enjoy the nostalgia over on Google Play, Fandango, or Prime. Thanks for checking out the video. What's your favorite monster film? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. We're also now on Blue Sky. You can find us at studiosfat.bsky.social, which will also link below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again, and see you in the next one.